What's up? It's your girl DJ Carisma, Power 106 on California. You know I got soul.
For sure. So let's get started. Can you kind of talk about the new single that you just put out, Anyway, and how it kind of came about?
Okay, Anyway is my first official single, featuring Tory Lanez, Eric Bellinger, Sage Gemini, and my Sean, produced by the League of Stars. It all started about a year ago when I decided I was going to make an album. And I just got with some of my favorite West Coast producers, and League of Stars was one of them. And this beat they gave me just was crazy. I'm like, this is the one right here. So, but I wanted to keep it more on R&B tip instead of going, to hip-hop. So I thought of Tory Lanez and Eric, and we just put it together, and we have Anyway sound.
Cool. And, this will, of course, lead up to your album. So can you kind of introduce us to the album a little bit?
Yeah, this is the first of 14 tracks that I got. They're all compilation songs. And it's coming out in fall, and it's going to be called DJ Carisma Presents. I have a lot of people on here. I got Chief Fly, Ty Dolla $ign, Wiz, YG, Mustard, a lot of newcomers too as well, like Shasha Jones, Raven Justice, Tory Lanez. And it's a real feel-good project. A lot of good head-bobbing music in there, a lot of hip-hop and R&B.
Cool. And for you, as far as being a DJ, what kind of expectations do you have for a project like this? As far as maybe numbers or just reception, like what's your expectation for it?
Well, I don't know what my expectation is because this is my first time doing it, but I hope it like, so far the response for the single has been amazing. So, like, the love I'm getting from fellow DJs and artists supporting me, it's just crazy. I have a feeling it's going to do really well.
Yeah. And, of course, you're part of the whole Young California movement that's going on, so can you just kind of talk about the concept behind that?
Well, basically, me and DJ Amen from KMEL in San Francisco, we came together. Me and him were both recognized for breaking our local artists. So me and him just kind of teamed up, and we wanted to create Young California to show unity between our artists, between DJs, and we just really wanted to give a platform for all of our younger newcomers, whether it be clothing, hip-hop, R&B, just to give them a platform to get some exposure. And we ended up adding on other DJs, and they ended up being other radio DJs from almost every single market, all the way down California to San Diego. Cool.
And now, how important is that unity, as far as artists and DJs? Because I think we see it a lot in the South. They team up a lot, but not so much on the West Coast until recently. So what's that unity like, and how important is it?
I think we were that missing link, because I remember 5 years ago, everyone would tell me, Carisma, this West Coast is it's not going to go nowhere, but now you go to Hot 97 and listen to what you hear on the radio, nothing but West Coast records. So I think we made our statement for sure.
Yep. And one of the artists that you helped kind of bring up is DJ Mustard, whose sound, like you said, is really blowing up everywhere. So how did you kind of know that sound was going to work?
I didn't know. I just was a fan of it. And I just fought for music that I was a fan of, and it ended up being right.
Yep. And as a DJ, what's the process like for you to make sure that you are in tune with everything that's going on?
I think the most important thing for a DJ is to really stay in tune with the youth, the kids, the high schools, even the junior highs, because they are the trendsetters, and they will always be the trendsetters. The generations change, and that's just something I figured out from working the street team. I was always connected to the colleges, the high schools, and the junior highs, and they were the ones who helped me see all these music, and I just took what they were, listening to and took it to radio. And it wasn't easy, but once, the higher powers saw the street movements that were really going on, that these kids were getting millions of hits on YouTube and all this stuff, it just kind of, we had to support it, and I'm glad we support now, because now it's everywhere.
Right. And, being that you are on the radio, can you kind of talk about the importance of the radio nowadays, since, like you mentioned, things have changed, especially now for the younger artists. They have different outlets like SoundCloud, YouTube. So what's the importance of radio?
I still think radio is very, very important. because we're free, and we can touch everybody. And when you're in your car, the average person doesn't yet have satellite in their car, so they still listen to good old radio. And we have the power to really help break these artists. So we are very key. And once we start supporting our own, you see what happens. So
yeah,
radio's very key.
And like you said, you kind of have the power to introduce people to music. But as a DJ, are you kind of, in a sense, telling people what to listen to, or are the people telling you what to play? Like, what's the balance like there?
I think it's a little bit of both. There's songs that people put me up on, and I try not to be a stubborn DJ. Like, yo, if this many people are asking me for a song, they must be onto something. But at the same time, I'm very on my music game. I'm always online every morning, looking at blogs, looking at all these sites, seeing what's hot, seeing what the trends are. So I, too, introduce a lot of music to people. And they, some songs they like, some songs they don't. But I think it's 50-50.
Okay, cool. And of course, you also have the Cookie Jar Show right now, where you play strictly R&B music. So, what's the importance of R&B to you?
Hey, I'm a big R&B fan, and I feel like a while R&B as a genre was really lacking for a minute. It became too pop, and it really lost that good old '90s R&B head bob, where R&B was really tied into hip hop still. So I just really wanted to highlight those songs, because being in LA, there's no real stations that play any of these artists. So I just wanted to give these artists the outlet and give you a full hour of artists you probably have never even heard of, but they're all really doing their thing, and it's all R&B music.
Yeah.
Flat.
Cool. And you mentioned you grew up loving 90s R&B, and it seems to kind of be a struggle for traditional R&B songs to get spins on the radio. So do you think it's just kind of the signs of the times, or is the material lacking, or just kind of talk about that?
I think now there's a lot of, I just think the artists that were the new ones and that really captured the new feel weren't getting enough shine, but now they are. Look at Ty Dolla $ign, look at Tinashe, look at T-Fly, August Alsina. These guys are all making this real good head bobbing, feel like just R&B, and it's getting played on the radio. So I feel like they're finally starting to get it, and they got the formula, and then you got people like me that are giving them that platform to show their formula, and I think it's working. And I think there's a whole bunch of artists like that are about to come out, and blow the world away.
Right. And you're one of the R&B fans who has kind of accepted that the genre has kind of evolved into what it is now. A lot of people are still kind of stuck in the 90s R&B, that traditional format. So how did you kind of decide that, okay, this is the new R&B, rather than some people who think, oh, this isn't R&B?
How could you say it's not R&B, you know what I mean? That trips me out. Like, rhythm and blues is singing over good-ass instrumentals, you know what I mean? It's still R&B.
Yeah.
They may not talk about the same thing, but then they do. Like, music always changes.
Yeah.
And you always got to find something to spice it up. But it's still true to the R&B root.
Yeah.
Like, if you go back and listen to old stuff, they be talking about the same stuff these guys talk about, but they're just maybe a little more vulgar with it.
Yeah.
But then as far as, like, the music of it, it's still the same.
Yeah. For sure. So, and then as far as growing up, what kind of music kind of influenced you?
Oh, man, Erykah Badu, Aaliyah, Tupac, all that stuff was what I listened to growing up. Tribe Called Quest, Nas, Snoop Dogg, In Vogue, SWV, Escape, Total. Those were all a lot of music that influenced me.
Cool. And with all those influences, can we kind of find that kind of sound on your album coming up? Or is there a certain sound that you wanted to go with for this album?
I feel that I captured that sound. I captured that old 90s, real head bob, feel good R&B type music. And real confident, real, I'm bringing back those bad girls like Total War, you know what I mean? Bad girls, like.
Yep.
Boys, I feel like my album represents that. Like, it's just real, make you feel like you bad. Get in your car and just go take over the world.
Yep, sounds good. And that's all the questions that I had for you. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
No. Shout out Young California, Kind 106, RPM Music, Abby De La Rosa. She's the host of My Cookie Jar.
Okay. Hey, Carisma, thank you again so much for the interview, and we're definitely going to check out your album, your project, and everything else that you have coming out.
I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, man.
Have a good day.
So.